I'd like to call the meeting to order at 7:01. If everyone would please have a seat. Has everyone filled out public comment forms that wishes to have submit public comment? Pardon? I want to welcome everyone this evening, and I'd like to recognize our Lee County Judge-elect, Frank Molinek. Frank, would you please stand and say hello? As you know, Mr. Molinek won the Republican primary, does not have a Democratic appointment, so he will become judge, I believe, January 1. Thank you for joining us. Is there anyone else that I should recognize that I don't know? There's several of you I don't know. That's okay. All right. All right. Public comments. Do we have a public comment? No public comment? One? Miss Linda Curtis.
Can I stand over here?
Yeah.
Okay with you?
I hope the microphone's reaching.
Generally how I'm doing it now. But anyway, this is really for y'all who are here because the board members know about this. But I wanted to make sure you knew that apparently when they were coming in, there's a guy out there serving the board members because they're getting sued. And they're being sued by a guy named Chicken Little. That's
good.
Okay, so I just have to tell you, make sure everybody knows this, the board knows this, that there was a bill that was passed in the 2016 legislative session. Some of us worked very hard, along with our representative at that time, Representative Syrier, to get it passed that would, we thought, stop the board members from being harassed by frivolous litigation and slap-happy lawyers who thought they could push them around because they didn't get what they wanted, and when the board members were actually following the law that they are required to follow. So we thought, oh, hey, we're covered. Well, this suit with 600 pages was filed in a federal court because apparently the law doesn't cover federal litigation, and I'm not sure that this really is federal litigation. I'm not a lawyer, and I haven't read the 600 pages, but I want you all to know that this has got to stop. And only us can stop it. The citizens, we need to get better organized. Okay, I'm off my soapbox. Did I say everything that needed to be said properly? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Curtis. If there's no other comments, we will proceed to item number 3, review and approval of the minutes of the February 16, 2022 regular board meeting. Board members, you have had an opportunity to review those. Are there any corrections, additions, anything missing? Okay.
Number 13 is just a little confusing because what ultimately happened was different assignments on the committee.
I will explain that. Let's see. Basically what happened, the year began and we did not have a January meeting at which time officers were elected. I was still president from last year, so I went ahead and appointed 2 committees because they had immediate work needed to be done. So several members got appointed to some sort of temporary committees, and then after I was reelected president in February, I talked to people and found out they had some different interests, and so some of the names were juggled, and those appointments show up later in the agenda. As far as I know, those were correct at the time. Is that satisfactory? Okay. Any other corrections or questions? Would the board member care to?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second that we approve the minutes from our last meeting of February 16, 2022. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Now, item number 4, discussion, consideration of, and possible action on a district employee manual. I would like to announce that we received some last-minute suggestions, but 2 months ago we passed a resolution saying that we will not consider any new information presented to the board that they don't have the Friday before it's going to be considered. And some of those suggestions came in after last Friday, did not make it to the board in time. A man had worked very hard to get those changes to us today, but people haven't had the chance to review those. So my suggestion, I'm recommending that we do not take action on the proposed employment manual and that we wait until next month and finalize it at that time. I would like to ask if there's any other discussion. Would anyone care to make a motion that we table this until? Thank you. We've got a motion to table.
Second.
Second. Motion is second to table consideration and approval of the district employee manual until April. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 5, infrastructure committee report. Phil Cook.
The infrastructure committee, I'm chair of it, Herb Cook, Aldous Hernandez, Kay Rogers, and Billy Sherrill were on that committee. We met this past Monday. We had an open meeting so that other board members could also attend the meeting without us being in violation of the Open Meetings Act. The main topic was that we had a draft report back from the Green and Kohler, who are our architects for our proposed possible new office building and meeting site. And it was a step in the contract that we had to meet with them before they could finalize the last draft and take some input on this. Is anyone from the Green here tonight? I want to give you my personal take on it. The architect that was representing their firm, I didn't think was well informed. He had very little new information. The proposed final draft of that was in my email today. I didn't have a chance to look at it closely, but I did look at the price, the proposed base price, which went up from about $1.5 million to about $1.6 million. So the cost of this project was a major concern to all of the board members at that meeting in Elgin. The other major concern was their traffic study. And some board members who are familiar with that area, Highway 21 where 290 comes into it there, know that's a dangerous intersection, and Highway 21 is a dangerous road. I thought that when I was looking at their traffic analysis, it took no note of eastbound or westbound traffic coming out of Giddings on 290 having to merge with Highway 21. I thought that was an exceptionally dangerous intersection, unacceptably dangerous, and I saw no mention of that, any corrections to that, or even acknowledging that in their final report. And I think the final report in that regard, at least, is incomplete. And I would like to take it back to them and ask for some comments and more work on that. The other thing we talked about after the architecture report, we're looking at a building site. Our infrastructure committee is, and some others of us on site, just down on South Main down here, the old service station. And we're considering it. The question also arose as, well, do we really need to move at all? Or aren't we okay in Smithville? Our rent is $1,100 a month, and so we can't make a good short-term economic case for making the move, and there are probably other reasons to do that. And anyway, we're on the interim on that, and I think one of the items coming up, we're going to discuss having appointing some folks who have the ability to make an offer on any proposed building site. Those of you who are present, have I left anything out that you'd like to add to it? That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Cook. Item number 6, discussion, consideration of, and possible action on the draft report of Green Kalar Architects regarding architectural and related services in connection with the district office building project and continuation of the office building project at the proposed site or another site. Unless a board member has something they wish to speak to, I also suggest that we delay any action on this, having received the final report in email this afternoon. Again, someone rushed it to us, for which I'm grateful, but we didn't have time to look at it. But feels right, it's for $1.66 million instead of 1.5. It's not going to go down. So I would like to entertain a motion to table this unless someone has anything else they'd like to say.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second to table item number 6. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Director Smith?
Yes.
Who was the second on that? Herb Cook.
Oh, I couldn't tell. I thought it was her. Okay. Thank you, Herb. Okay. Item number 7, discussion and consideration of and possible action on a district resolution delegating authority and identifying the process to secure real property located in Bastrop, Morley County, Texas, for potential district office and meeting space. In your packet, you have a resolution, and in this I'm not going to read the entire resolution for you, but I will note that the people that are designated as agents to act on behalf of the district for the purposes of acquiring real property, the board's secretary-treasurer, the chair of the infrastructure committee, and the general manager. Does the board have any questions, comments, or would like to discuss the resolution?
Is that either or those people or all of those people?
All of those people.
They must all sign a contract.
Yes. We considered making it larger, but we decided to leave it small so that they could act quickly if necessary. Anyone?
Are we open for discussion on this, Shirley?
Certainly.
The purpose of this we call it an earnest money committee. It would be the three of us, Jim Todd, Elvis, and I. Elvis is the chair of the Financial Services Committee, and I'm chair of the infrastructure. The ability to, if we're going to buy anything, or if we're going to consider a property to bring to the board in this market, we have to do it quickly. We're going to have to make an earnest money contract pretty quickly, and that's what we're asking authority to do, is just make an earnest money contract with a provision in the contract. If the board refuses the proposal, the contract, all the earnest money is returned to us. So it's a no-risk prospect, and it gives us the ability to bring a property that we would consider buying to the board. And I don't know what to say. We don't have to move from Smithville, and we don't have to decide whether to move or stay in Smithville. I don't think. I think we need any proposed property we bring to the board. We would compare that property with what we have in Smithville and make it our decision on the basis of that. So asking the board to give the three of us the authority to make an earnest money contract for consideration by the full board.
I'd also like to add that since December, I've been doing commercial building searches on multiple websites for kind of the corridor from Elgin to Page to Giddings and either side. And every time I find something, it's already been snapped up because other people are watching just like we are. And so that's why this is important to have this resolution. Any other comments?
Do you think that somebody that wants to sell or sign an earnest money contract that says, well, we can get out of it?
I don't know. I'm not a realtor. Is anybody here a realtor?
Mike, I don't know that either. I know when you're buying a house, even if you're approved, the mortgage company's going to look at that property and appraise it and approve whether they'll apply that, whatever you're qualified for to that. So I'm looking in that way, but again, I don't know. I don't want to risk more money on something that can't be returned.
I totally agree with you. And, I'm not against the program, but I just want everybody to understand that I think you're going to have a problem getting somebody to sign that earnest money contract or something.
We may well.
We might, and also Natasha's firm, they have people that are into real estate development and sales, and they wrote this up.
That's fine.
Yeah, I don't know. Any other comments, questions?
Madam President?
Yes.
Just a consideration, I realize the terms in this resolution are all, they're broad. No one's named, it's general manager, it's chair of this committee, chair of that committee. But even still, would we want to possibly put in for lack of a better term, a sunset provision that this resolution needs to be reconsidered and reauthorized on a particular basis, so we don't have this authorization just continuously lingering out there between two board members and the general manager for the next decade? Would it make sense to have some sort of review on that?
Like, are you talking like a 12-month expiration date or something like that?
If we renewed it annually, or I don't know. It's an idea that just popped into my head.
I have no objection.
I have none. I think it's a good idea.
There's many things that probably should have an expiration date.
Yeah, I was just looking for it and I couldn't find one. I thought we had it
Okay.
I thought we had one in there, but we don't.
So let's see, we could pencil that in. Let's see. Shall we say to expire in 12 months, or would you like a date?
I'll leave this to you to add that.
Pardon?
Under that number 6, effectiveness, I think you could, could you have an expiration date?
Could you speak into the microphone? I can't even hear you. I'm so...
Yeah, after number 6, the effectiveness, could you add either onto that or under section 7 that talks about termination?
Mm-hmm. Okay, and so we would just add effect immediately and upon adoption, expiration within 12 months, or expiration with today's date as of March 15, 2023. Does that work? Okay. All right. Any other suggestions? Are you ready for a vote? If so, I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we accept the resolution with the expiration date of March 15, 2020.
Is there a second?
I'll say that.
Who was that, Herb?
Mike.
A second from Mike. We have a motion and a second to approve the property resolution with the amendment of expiration date of March 15, 2023. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Now, Item number 8, announcing appointments of the Board of Directors to District Committees 2022. And these were effective mid-February. The Governance Committee is myself, Kay Rogers, who's Vice President, Elvis Hernandez, the Secretary Treasurer, and Herm Cook. Financial Services, Elvis Hernandez is Chair, Bill Cook, Billy Sherrill, Mike Semaine. Infrastructure Committee, Bill Cook, Chair, Herb Cook, Elvis Hernandez, Kay Rogers, Billy Sherrill. Education Outreach is Tom Arsufi, Chair. He's out today, had a previous vacation plan. Also Melissa Cole, Javier Sines, Mike Semaine, and myself. Management Committee is Melissa Cole is Chair, Tom Arsufi, Larry Shoddy, and myself. These are now read into the record. Item number 9. Discussion, consideration of, and possible action on service of process delegation and selection of legal counsel, including appointed Texas Municipal League Intergovernmental Risk Pool Counsel for the complaint filed in Gatehouse Water, LLC versus Lost Pines Groundwater Conservation District et al., cause number 122-CV-00132, United States District Court of the Western District of Texas. For this discussion, we will be going into executive session. The board may recess into executive session to consult with its attorneys regarding any posted matter in which the board may seek the advice of its attorneys under Government Code 551.071, or for any action on the agenda for which a closed session is permitted by law, and will reconvene in open session for any appropriate action on any matter considered in executive session. For this, unfortunately, this is the only room we have, so the public will have to go leave the room. Please feel free to take a chair outside with you, because there's no seating for you. So we are now going into executive session at 7:23 p.m. We are back from executive session at 8:43 p.m. There was great discussion. No votes or polls were taken. We discussed, we have 2 possible motions to take care of as a result of this. One is delegation of authority for service. The other one may be a motion to accept the risk pool coverage. Board, do you have any questions, discussion, any comments you'd like to make?
I have a motion I'd like to make.
Go ahead, Kay.
I'd like to move that we delegate conditional authority to our general manager to accept service on behalf of the board members only if plaintiff allows us 60 days to file an answer.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to give conditional delegation of authority of 60 days for parties to answer, delegating Jim Totten to accept service of process for Gatehouse LLC versus Lost Pines Groundwater Conservation District, cause number 122-CV-00132. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. I would now like to consider a motion for accepting risk pool coverage. Would someone care to make a motion?
That's over.
Pardon me? Thank you, Mr. Semaine. Mr. Semaine has moved that we accept risk pool coverage as offered through Texas Municipal League Intergovernmental Risk Pool Council.
I'll second that.
And Mr. Shoddy has second. Any other questions or discussion from the board? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Agenda item number 10. Discussion, consideration of, and possible action on reorganizing district meeting notices or agendas provided pursuant to the Texas Open Meetings Act to include a consent agenda, announcements, and non-action items. In your packet, you had a sample document. It may not look exactly like this, but it would be broken down to where we could approve consent items, routine items with no discussion unless a board director chose to bring up an item. Does anyone have any questions? Discussion items?
I'm wondering why under district reports and announcements, these items wouldn't be open for discussion. What's the rationale for that?
The rationale for a consent agenda is to save time.
No, not the consent agenda, the district reports and announcements.
Oh, okay. I mean, they could be entered as non-action or action items, either one. I don't have the answer for that. Natasha would. Does anyone else?
I can get Natasha on the phone.
Okay, thank you. Yeah,
Yes, if you don't mind.
it seems like, to me, if I were making a committee report, I'd want some discussion on it from the other board members instead of just monopolizing the item there.
In other words, you want the committee reports made by the committee chairs and also the board member is able to participate in the discussion. Is that what your concern is?
Well, not only, also the general manager's report. I'd like to be able to ask our general manager some questions about some things that are in the report. Anyway, that's kind of what came to my mind about it.
Okay.
I didn't know why it wouldn't be open for discussion. There may be good reasons for it.
Well, I think that if you have a consent
Discussion,
agenda,
consideration of possible
and anybody wants to object to
organizing
it,
district meetings, this is
they
urgent.
can do so, and then it's off the agenda.
Yeah, I have no problem with the consent agenda. This is the next item down, the district reports and announcements.
I think it's the same, but I'm not positive.
I have Natasha.
Natasha's on the line. Natasha?
Yes, Cheryl.
Phil Cook has a concern about district reports and announcements. Is it like the consent agenda where it's not typically open for discussion or action unless a board member objects, and then can it be opened? This is the district reports and announcements. General manager's report, committee reports, board of director announcements.
Right, those would not typically be for posted action. So, if a director, wants to give an update, or if there's an update from, what the committee's been discussing, that would be fine, but that notice wouldn't be sufficient enough to take an action.
What if we said no action?
Well, I'm not suggesting it be open for action, but just discussion.
Typically, you don't discuss anything except action items. Is that not true?
Well, that's right. I mean, if you wanted to have further discussion on it, you could put it on a later agenda for discussion.
Because some committee reports that do have action items will be listed as action items rather than district reports and announcements.
And the format doesn't have to be exactly like this. This was just an example, for y'all to consider, because, when you're changing up the order of your agenda, it changes what the public's expecting to see. So it's good for the board to have a discussion about the changes, but your next agenda doesn't have to look exactly like this. This was just on here, because I know that folks have wanted to talk about streamlining things a bit. And so that's why there's a consent agenda section. I think it's a little more user-friendly as far as readability goes.
Well, if someone wanted to discuss something that was on the consent agenda, can't you just pull it off the consent agenda and discuss it? I mean, that happens at other boards, I can.
Right. So if a board member requested to have it pulled out of the consent, then yes, you could do that. That's different from the district reports and announcements.
What if we put the general manager's report and committee reports under the consent agenda? Any of it could still be pulled off, right?
Yes, that's right.
That would be simpler.
Well, I would like to see the GM report and committee reports as part of the regular agenda. I see no reason to hamstring us if we want to ask a clarification of the general manager, or if someone giving a committee report, if someone has a comment or clarification, I think they should be free to do that.
Any other comments?
I think that's what Natasha said. You can pull it off anytime.
Including the items that he's speaking about, right?
Right.
Yeah. So basically, regardless of the heading on this document, any item can be pulled out for discussion if the board member wishes.
Under district reports and announcements, there's no such language about that. It just says that no actions will be taken, not open for discussion, no actions taken, period.
Well, we could strike that and add the same language that's included under the consent agenda, or it could be part of the consent agenda.
Well, those aren't really consent items. The general manager's report, committee reports aren't essentially consent type items.
Chris, I can't really hear much of the discussion, but did I hear that the board wants to use the same kind of qualifier language under consent agenda, under district reports and announcements?
Is that right?
Is that what I heard?
I'm not speaking to the consent agenda at all. I'm speaking to district reports and announcements. And
Okay.
I think the general manager's report and committee reports should be open for discussion, although no action.
So why don't we just strike?
Why don't we just move them up under consent agenda?
That's what I
which
said.
says that, unless requested by a board director, in which event the items will be removed from the consent agenda and put under the regular agenda.
That was my suggestion.
All you have to do is ask.
Well, I'm kind of okay with that. I just think committee reports and general manager reports shouldn't be consent agenda items either.
Chris, so I don't really need an action on this tonight. I can circulate another draft sample for consideration that it hits some of these issues that I'm hearing tonight.
Would someone like to consider this to be tabled until our next meeting?
Madam President, would we table this until next meeting, giving our legal counsel a chance to revise it?
Would you like to make that as a motion?
Yeah, I'd like to move that we table item 10 until our legal counsel has a chance to massage the examples she presented to us.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and second to table item number 10. The discussion, consideration of and possible action of a consent agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Natasha.
All right, Natasha.
Okay. Discussion, item number 11, discussion, consideration of, and possible action in setting a date and the agenda for a board of director training. And I have asked Mr. Chris Cyrus here to address this topic.
Sure. So a couple of points here. and I'll try to keep it very brief because if we start getting into details, we might want to go into executive session. The Public Information Act is going to be implicated because communications between board members, whether they're in here or through electronic means, can be subject to discovery. It's important to know what you all have a duty to preserve, number one, but number two, to remain cognizant of what sort of communications are subject to disclosure under the Public Information Act. Attorney-client privilege, we have discussed that a little bit tonight, but it's important to know, how that's implicated, not just when it's you sitting one-on-one with your attorney, having a conversation with them in private, but also how it works when you're sitting there with other individuals. What sort of forum you can be in and still have that reasonable expectation that the attorney-client privilege will be implicated, and how it interfaces with the rights of other individuals or entities that are being represented by that attorney. And then finally, there was a third item. It was the Public Information Act. It was attorney-client
Open
privilege.
meetings and open
It's the Open Meetings
records.
Act, that's right. And that's significant because if you don't comply with the Open Meetings Act, you not only it not only could result in something the board does, some official action being voidable or voided by the noncompliance, but it can also subject you to damages in your individual capacity as well. And so just given those three laws and the way that they interface with this entity and you all operating as agents of this entity, it's just important to remain cognizant of the ins and outs of these laws and how they might have been updated since your attorneys last studied them.
Thank you. Does anyone have questions?
What do you suggest we do about the training?
The suggestion was going to be that we would have training before the meeting in April, which is April the 20th, but the board is also welcome to suggest a separate date if you choose. I expect it'll be about an hour and a half training was our best guess, according to Natasha. Natasha recommended this training for the board last fall, and we've just never gotten around to setting a date.
Do you know where our meeting is in April?
It will be at the City Council in Elgin, I believe. Yes. Elgin City Council Chambers, Elgin, Texas. At the back end of their public library. So if it's an hour and a half, if our meeting starts at 7, we would probably need to meet at 5:30.
Do we have confirmation that the space is available, starting at 5:30?
I think it's available.
Well, I think 4 o'clock on, I think. And until midnight or later, if you wish. Does anybody else have?
Conduct the training, Chris?
Natasha would primarily lead it. I would be there to assist her.
Yeah, she said other staff from her firm would be assisting. It would not just be her. But I don't know who they are. Does anyone have questions? If not, would anyone like to make a motion?
Well, let me make a suggestion.
Sure.
Here a while back, there was something about if the board member does 25% or something on the computers, then he or she got to have a training course. So, does anybody remember that?
I'm not sure, Mike.
Director Smaney, I think you're talking about the cybersecurity training required by the state, yes, sir.
Can we add that to it?
Typically, we've used the training provided by TAG, which is an online training, so that's not really something that we could necessarily incorporate into it.
Okay.
It doesn't take very long.
But yeah, it doesn't take very long to do all.
Okay.
And we could ask Natasha if it's possible. We don't have to set a time if you just want to say before the board meeting.
Well, the cybersecurity training does have a quiz associated with it.
Okay.
So each representative would take, I think, at least through TAG, you go to the video training and then have to pass a quiz.
And then you get a little certificate.
Oh, what?
You get a little certificate.
Oh, I see. You've done it. Right, would anyone care to make a motion so we can get this scheduled?
I'll make the motion.
Mr. Semaine,
I'll make the motion.
you make the motion that we have the training,
That's a good idea.
Public Information, Attorney-Client Privilege, and Open Meetings Act on April the 20th prior to our regular board meeting. Does that sound right? Is there a second? Second. A motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? It's done. Motion carries. Other committee reports. The two committees that have met so far this year are Phil's given us infrastructure. Elvis, do you have a report from Financial Services?
Well, I have not met with the team since I was
Appointed a few
made the
minutes
chair.
ago.
I was, since this is on, yes, I have not met yet with the Finance Committee since I've been made chair. However, I know that there was a couple of open items. One, that there was an auditor in this week, I believe. So we should be able to get a report within the next coming 2 weeks, 2-3 weeks maybe, or months, 2 months?
I believe May.
In May, so we should have a report in May from the auditor that's performing the audit this week. And then the other item is, which I believe is still open and pending, is that Natasha is still in discussions with the Post Oak Savannah legal counsel regarding the litigation funds, and that's still ongoing. And I don't have any update on that. I don't believe there's been any update on that.
Investment policy.
Oh, yes, and we are working with council to create an investment policy for our financial investments moving forward. That would designate an investment officer that would undergo some mandatory, I think it's 6 hours of mandatory training on investments and in order to invest the funds that the district has, according to, state law and all the different laws. So that investment policy, we just received that from Greg Ellis 1 or 2 days ago, and that's currently draft. So we'll be reviewing that, and then at some point I'll come up to the board for vote and approval. So that's I believe it's a new policy?
Yes. Well, actually, we found there was an old policy that was about a paragraph long and not adequate from 2006. So
Yeah,
that we definitely need a new policy.
Yeah, this new policy is quite detailed. It's several pages long.
Thank you. Melissa Cole, do you have a management committee report?
Now, the management committee met on the 9th of March, and we discussed quite a few things, but basically just trying to prioritize where we were going to head with each of those. But what we discussed with no real detail is that the GMA 12 is evaluating their DFC process this year, and so our goal will be to create our values, associate numbers with those, and then evaluate our process so that we're able to defend what we come up with for DFC. We talked about setting up a groundwater management zone for northern Lee County, and I think that Jim and Andy are defining that zone right now, and then we're going to further discuss, we want to involve people that live within that zone, and go from there. We talked about county subdivision rules, which we really don't have any say over, but there are things that happen in subdivisions that greatly affect our water, so we'd like to create a simple fact sheet that we can convey to county officials, and for the purpose of educating them on water loss and waste, as well as what resources we can provide. We did a review of production and export fees. We didn't do a review. We need a review of the management plan and the audit requirements. Jim is currently working on the compliance issues with the existing plan, and we'll be bringing those back to us. We have to revise our plan by January 24th, 2023. The minimal would be adding the new DFC and MAGs, but we would like to go through in more detail. We want to benchmark our rules to other districts, basically, so that we can maximize the growth and expansion within our district. We looked at aquifer storage and recovery, because that is something that could be coming our way. It's not impending or anything, but we need to investigate the practice of injection wells or subsequent extraction of the water and the impacts that they could have, so that we're able to establish rules for such practices. A monitoring well plan. We want to have our wells plotted out on the district map and come up with a tool for monitoring relationships established. Pretty much what we did.
Thank you, Melissa. As you can see, we have a lot of people already hard at work on various issues. And the first meeting of the Education Outreach Committee, I think, is April 1st. Tom Arsubi's the chair. He's not here. We don't have a report on that yet. Okay. Item number 12, consideration of the financial report through February 28, 2022.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. Financial report for the reporting period ending February 28, 2022. The operating fund balance for the district stood at $289,447.31. The technical fund balance stood at $3,878,310.89. For a grand total of $4,167,758.20. User fees collected to date are a little bit behind where we expect to be. We've got some large prepayments coming in January, and then the rest of the payments for the quarter kind of trickle in. But so far, for 2022, we've collected $276,276.20. Nice imagery. As far as expenditures, at this point in time, everything's tracking where we would expect to be for this time of year. We don't have any real significant drawdowns on any of our items, any of our budgetary items at this point. We do, of course, have some drawdown on the legal fees. That's not unexpected given our current situation, but all of our other costs are tracking where we expect to be for this time of year. So with that, I'd be happy to address any questions you have regarding the finances through February 28th.
Jim, I noticed last January we had a real high number in legal, and I thought it was sort of somehow a combination of December and January. I think if you look at last January, you had the same kind of big number, like 38,000, and
January 2021?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't have those numbers. I'd have to go back and look at that.
I just wondered if it's something that happened every January because of something.
So any bills coming from December should be, and Director Hernandez and I were discussing that this morning via email. Anything that came in for the December-related work would have been billed off in December. So it would show up in the 2021 financials, not in 2022. So anything that was paid out, in that January period would have been bills that came in for the January 2022 time period.
Okay, big number for 1 month.
Yeah.
I'll go back and double check that.
Because I was too new and too shy to say anything last year. I noticed it.
I will double check that, but I'm pretty sure that's what I understand.
All right, thank you.
I did just want to mention that we have a new professional services policy that we passed last month. And because of that, we are looking at all of our service contracts. They're listed on here as our computers, software is our webpage, our hydrogeologist, our auditor, our lawn and cleaning service, and our telephone, whether they require RFQs, whether we've had RFQs in the past. This will involve some research on the part of the staff members. Just so you know, legal services do not require an RFQ through the professional services policy. And Natasha has promised us information on this. Hope maybe next week, maybe 2 is more realistic. Does anyone else have any other comments or questions for Jim about the financial report?
Madam President, Smith will need an action to acknowledge acceptance of the financial report.
Does it require action?
We need, I don't know whether it's been customary.
Okay.
Just acknowledge it.
Okay, we have a motion to accept the financial report. The second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Yeah. Item number 14, General Manager's Report.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. General Manager's report for March 16, 2022. During the period of February 1st to February 28th, the district received applications for 9 new domestic irrigation wells. I believe 8 of those were Bastrop County, 1 was in Lee County. No pre-existing wells were registered with the district at that time. Additionally, no wells were plugged, no water quality tests were conducted, and we were able to get out in the field and engage 5 wells. Currently, according to drought.gov, about a third of the district is in what they call abnormal driving conditions. That's basically running along the southeast border of both Lee and Bastrop County. The rest of the district is currently not considered to be experiencing drought conditions. As Director Cole mentioned, GMA 12 did meet. We have had discussions about what changes need to be made in the process for this current round of planting. While we are waiting on getting the new population estimates, which we expect to have early next spring, which basically we will be running any models until we have that baseline data from the state. So we decided to take up the rest of the year by having these discussions about what approaches we want to take. I brought that to the management committee to get them started thinking about, any difference in processes that you'd like me to take back for consideration. Right now, one of the ideas that I'm tossing around is that we look at developing the GMAs locally and then bringing them back developing the FCs more locally and then bringing them back to the GMA to do the feasibility studies and the modeling and then do the horse trading to figure out how to make them all work. Rather than developing them, sitting them down and bringing them back up, we just develop them more close to the district levels and then bring them up and do the horse trading and make it work afterwards. That may give us a little bit more, it makes it a little more chaotic in the end, but it may also give a little bit more buy-in and also allow more stakeholder input across the whole planning process. So that's one idea that I'm going to take back from the next GMA meeting. And the other thing that would do is each district developing their own and then bringing it back. No single district can ask the other districts to vote to support something that they disagree with. If Fayette County decides they want to go out and kick cows and see how far they fly to send their DOCs, well, we don't have to say we think that's a good idea or we endorse that method. All we have to do is incorporate those numbers and figure out how to make it work in the system. So no one else is on the hook for anyone else's bad decision. So the next GMA 12 meeting is scheduled for April 22nd, and that'll be another both online and in person and close to Savannah offices. We are currently planning on having bi-monthly meetings through the rest of the year to discuss that planning process. Our Assistant General Manager, Javier Saenz, has developed a new LPGTE newsletter modeled after the newsletter he had used in his previous district. We did a trial run with those newsletters. We got them out to governmental agencies, or governmental offices and feed stores across the counties. Generally had a pretty good response in terms of getting. This was more about trying to see who would let us in and who would, show us who would show Javier the door. And he did a very good job of getting us into a lot of places. So we'll look forward to working with the Outreach and Education Committee on developing content and making this an ongoing process where we can get more exposure for the district and get that material out there. So Javier did a great job on the first one, and so we're really looking forward to moving forward with that. And got Director Cole that ASR is here. We have been contacted by the city of Austin. They are interested. They are in the early stages of evaluating ASR projects in either Travis and either Bastrop counties. District staff has already started looking at other counties, or other GCDs to see what kind of rules they have in place governing ASR. So we can try and move that along with their project, hopefully ahead of their project, or at least with their project, so we can get some basic rules in place for ASR. There will be 2 informational meetings conducted by the City of Austin about this project, one on March 29th and the other on March 24th. All the information regarding those online informational programs are on the district calendar right now, so if you go to lostgroundwater.org/calendar.aspects, you can click on both of those. It has the registration links and everything else right there. So anyone, and they explicitly say residents of Lee and Bastrop County that are interested are urged to attend. So pick a night and plan for about an hour and a half to be talk to about ASR in Austin. Let's see, I did have a space here for committee activities, just in case we didn't have anything we needed to pick up slack. We all did a wonderful job covering that. So the only thing I will use for the committee activities item is that we do need to plan on a financial services committee meeting to begin working on the, aside from the project you've already brought up, we also need to look into mitigation program as well and start reconsidering that. So we'll add that to the list for the financial committee.
Now, on that note, we're still waiting on Natasha, though, right? Is that what we're waiting, pending on?
We can work concurrently.
We can do how? Okay.
Yeah, because there's a form that would need to be revised if and when the program is reinstituted.
So we could work at a high level on some of the conceptual things while we're still working on the interlocal agreements and things like that.
Okay, good to know. Thanks.
So with regard to pending permits, as previously mentioned, in past months, we do have the City of Bastrop permit, which is coming up for hearing on April 4th. This is 3 wells in the Simsboro on the excess range property. This completes the original well field that Bastrop applied for back in 2014, I believe, which eventually got whittled down to 1 well and 2,000 acre feet. They've now come back for the other 3 wells, which remain 4,000 acre feet for that well field. I apologize for having to have that on the same day as the LCRA rehearing, but when you've got a venue and a board available, you kind of have to strike while the iron's hot, so we put both of those together.
Can you confirm the timing of it? Which one comes first on that day?
LCRA is first at 2 p.m.
This flyer says 1.
Right.
Okay, 1 p.m. Yeah, well,
Well, I
LCRA.
mean, we were told 2.
I was told 2, yeah.
I don't know.
We'll double check that, but LCRA is
It's
the
2.
afternoon, and then City of Bastrop's in the evening.
Okay, because somewhere I saw it flip-flop. I forgot.
We'll
I
get
don't
that.
need 2, I've got 2 on.
Yeah, I have 2. I also got 2, that's why I was gonna bring up, because this paper I got says.
We'll double check it, but it should be, I believe it's 2 o'clock and 6 o'clock.
I think the website might have it reversed. I'll check.
We'll double check.
I think the no?
I looked at the website.
It's right?
Well, I got an email that said it had been reversed.
Okay, it was in the email?
I got 2.
Okay, I know I saw it somewhere.
LCRA first and Bastrop second. The second one had been reversed.
Not familiar with that. We'll look into it again, make sure it's clarified.
Sure the attorneys know.
And then additionally, we do have the no increase amendment from Aqua WFC for their aggregate S field, basically seeking to add a new well to those existing permits with no change in total aggregate production in the S field. That will be ready for next month as well. As previously mentioned, we have GMA 12 coming up on April 22nd. Additionally, Region K will be meeting on April 27th at the LCRA Center in Austin. And that's all the upcoming meetings I'm aware of at this point.
Can you mention that the website redesign meeting that's being planned?
It's not a public meeting, right?
No.
But you just want to mention it?
I just wanted to mention that it's ongoing.
Okay, yes, so yeah, we do have a meeting planned to look at website redevelopment through Civic Plus.
Gotcha.
Is that it, Mr. Topman? Thank you, Mr. Topman.
I have a quick question.
Yes, go ahead.
Is the city of Lexington, are they drilling a new water well? You know what's going on up there?
They are doing a replacement well, yes, sir.
Right next to the old.
Yes, sir.
And how deep is that well, you know?
It'll be the same depth as the current one, which I believe is 600 something foot. I don't recall the exact number off the top of my head, but basically it's a one-for-one replacement for their existing well.
Could I have something on this well producers year-to-date sheet?
Yes, sir.
Why are there a lot of zeros in February for cities and,
Some of those reports come in quarterly, some of them come in monthly, it just depends on the producers.
okay.
While we're on that, can you tell me the difference between percent of total permit and percent of permit? I don't know that it's almost the last two columns. I don't know the difference between them.
P&T, I think is paint.
I'd have to go back and look at the formula for that, I don't recall what the difference between those two values is off the top of my head.
Okay, that's fine.
Isn't it permanent for so many years? So this way.
No, those are it's purely production value, not time value. That I do know.
So we'll get that next month?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions from the board? Okay, thank you again, Mr. Totten. Item number 15, discussion of Lost Pines Groundwater Conservation District legislation, related legislation and/or activities occurring that affect or pertain to the district and groundwater. Mr. Ellis is not here to give us a legislative report. I will just mention that the legislature has announced their interim reports. Dates and locations are not set yet. However, there will be one that's specifically on groundwater. So I'll be watching for those dates, any of you that are interested, and Mr. Ellis will be attending those meetings and reporting back to us. Item number 16, consideration of conferences, meetings, and educational opportunities board members desire to attend. I'm not aware of any.
Well, if anybody signed up for Changing Face of Water, the virtual event is the 30th and 31st of March.
I forgot about that. Changing Pace of Water.
And also, we do have 2 extra sets of books from that last legal conference for anybody that didn't attend that would be interested in having door stops or something to reach the top of the bridge with. Feel free to come by the office and we'll give you all those binders as well.
Okay, did you say 30th and 31st? 30th and 31st of this month. Okay. Right. Item number 17, consideration of agenda items, calendar, and events. For board members, if you have suggested items for future agendas, this is your opportunity to bring them forward.
I would like to talk about starting meetings at 6 o'clock again, since it's 9:23.
Okay. Also, an agenda item I would like for next month, I was notified by Mr. Ellis that Curtis Chubb, I believe he's in Milam County, filed with TCEQ a complaint against Post Oak Savannah Groundwater District based on their DFCs. I don't know the details, but I believe that it has to do with him saying that the DFCs are not reasonable based on Vista Ridge pumping, but I may be making an assumption there, so don't take my word for it. But Mr. Ellis is suggesting that the board may want to submit a brief in support of or not in support of, and since I have not seen it, I don't know what that would be. But perhaps we'll have it at our next meeting, because I believe the deadline to submit briefs is April the 29th, so we would have to act on that soon.
We'll get a copy of that out to you tomorrow.
Pardon?
We'll get a copy out to the board tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank you, Jim. Any other? One other that Kay and I talked about earlier today is tunnel boring, and I believe that's in Bastrop County, right, Kay?
Over on 1209.
1209, oh, that's right. Tesla. Basically, the considerations will be boring underground impact groundwater tables, and I believe that's under the purview of TCQ to file. I think that's who would hold the hearing, or TCQ can delegate that to SOA. But it's very early yet. Have you heard anything about that, Jim?
Everybody's pointing to everybody else when you ask who's responsible.
Yeah, I looked up online excavation tunnels and everything out, and they said TCQ.
That piece of land has Colorado River frontage on it, and I was just wondering about the alluvial aquifer being affected if they start drilling near the river. I know they've gotten a permit to drill underneath Farm Marsh Road 1209. It's right up the road from where 1209 runs into 969.
Yes, ma'am.
Right by the Humpback Bridge.
I'm aware of the property, but the area that their current operation is on doesn't have river frontage, but they're full of warehouse.
That
Yeah,
same
full
piece
of
of property
warehouse, yeah.
continues across the road.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, but how deep is he going to go, and will it be impacted? We don't know, but I think perhaps we can add that to our agenda, or if we don't know anything, it might be the next month. We'll check it out and see how quickly we can find out information.
No harm in that.
We looked into this back in December, and it was, and everybody kind of, well, the county said it's them, and they said it's them, and,
Well,
but
yeah, the
no one
county
said,
tabled
no one
their
said
permit
us, so.
application last month.
That's
Sorry?
right.
Judge Poppy tabled their
Yes.
application until they did a little more research into it.
Okay, maybe it's premature. Any other agenda items? Board members? If not, at 9:26, we stand adjourned. Thank you.